Yo guys, what is up? Max here in an Elden Ring video, and today we're going over my Blood Monk build. Now, I went into the DLC with basically enough stats in everything to be able to use every weapon. I've tried a lot of things, and one of the weapons that really stuck with me and the playstyle that I was really enjoying were the martial arts weapons. These allow you to equip either fists or feet, or use both, and use some pretty high power combos. They've got good reach, good stagger, and I found a pretty crazy combo that pairs them with bleed and a few talismans to really up their damage and their potential. We're going to be building around their ability to consecutive hit and proc lots of status effects for one of the stronger builds that I've played. We're going to be going over everything that you need to know in this build guide. I hope you enjoy. Let's get right into it. Quick note, I'm going to be keeping spoilers to an absolute minimum. I will have all of the locations at the end of the video, and obviously the locations are going to be showing you areas that maybe you haven't seen before, but I'm going to be showcasing the whole build and everything that you need to know about the build prior to the locations. So if you just want to know the combos and synergies, you can have those, and then if you want the locations, I will have those timestamped at the end of the video. All right, let's do this. So for our weapons, we're going to be using the martial arts or hand-to-hand weapons. In our right hand, we're going to be using Dane's Blood Footwork, and in our left hand, we're going to be using the hand-to-hand dry leaf arts. Now, the reason we're going to want the foot in our primary hand is because you're going to want to be main-handing the feet more often. And that is because of two reasons. First off, I find the feet to be much stronger than the hands. You get the feet a little bit later on in the DLC. But to start, their jumping R2 attack is ridiculously strong. It'll do a two-hit combo like mid-air, and it's got a lot of stagger. It'll knock down enemies and stagger them very quickly. And if you're just using it in your main hand and do the jump attack, but you're not two-handing it, it only does one of those. So it's like half damage. So I like mainly using the feet. However, if you are using the feet and the hands at the same time, you get a unique L1 attack that will string both the hands and the feet together, which is actually very strong. So I like that a lot. And I also like the Ash of War. Now, you get inherent Ash of Wars on these weapons. However, what I'm going to be showing you is what I think is the best possible Ash of War for them, and that is the Dry Leaf Whirlwind. Now, it's in a hidden spot that I'll showcase later on how to get it, but this Whirlwind is a multi-hit spinning aerial attack with your feet that does a lot of stagger, it does a lot of damage, and it builds up a ton of status. And with this build, you're going to be able to basically spam that to stun lock, stagger lock enemies that will delete with some of the hardest bosses or some of the harder mobs in the game. It also does tons of damage to bosses, but that's why you're going to want the feet as your main hand weapon. I know that sounds weird. And then the gloves kind of if you want to pull out this kind of string attack that you can do with them. But that's just how I personally like to play them. For our talismans, we're primarily going for damage. Obviously, if you wanted to build a little bit more tanky, you can, but I just like going full damage in this game. So we're going to be using Lord of Blood's Exaltation. This increases our attack power whenever there is blood loss in our vicinity, which with our multi-hit combos, blood loss is happening all the time. So this is a great damage bonus for us. We're also going to be using the Rotten Winged Sword Insignia, which greatly raises our attack power with successive attacks. We're going to be proccing this basically every combo. We've also got the new Shattered Stone Talisman. In my testing, I found this to be about a 10% damage increase for our kicking and stomping skills. And also in my testing, I found this to not affect the jumping R2 attack. It is just for skills, kind of like Ash of Wars. So it does boost the damage of our actual kind of spinning, rotating kick. So another damage boost there. And then we're also going to be using the Shard of Alexander, which is also another massive damage boost for our combo. So what we're really trying to do is basically we can build up tons of stagger with our kick, and we can spam our Ash of War as much as we want to build up tons of stagger, tons of bleed, and tons of damage on bosses. This combo is absolutely disgusting. For the armor, I'm mainly wearing the Dry Leaf and Dane set to look most like a monk. However, the only issue with that is you only get 23 poise with that full set equipped. So I put together something just for this video that is the Dane hat with the Divine Bird Warrior armor and Tree Sentinel gloves and greaves. This gives us 59 poise, so we don't get knocked out of our spinning kick attack so much by like small hits. We can stagger through it, and I still think it looks pretty freaking cool and still kind of gives that like monk robe vibes, but with a little bit more armor. So I think this set and this combo looks really, really nice. But yeah, that is going to be our armor. Because we are a monk, I thought it'd be fitting to have some faith. So we've got two pretty powerful buffs, Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength. These stack multiplicatively with each other. Golden Vow increases the damage that we deal and also reduces the damage that we take. And Flame Grant Me Strength for this specific build increases our physical damage that the gloves are going to be dealing. We've also got Lord's Heal on, just for a way to heal ourselves and any of our allies that we might be fighting with. And because we are a Blood Monk, we've got Blood Flame Blades as a quick way to proc some bleed and Swarm of Flies. If an enemy is ranged away from you, you can start procking that bleed on them and then run up and then finish off that bleed proc pretty easily. In addition to that, we're also going to be using the Commander Standard. The Commander Standard is a nice little buff that we can grab for ourselves that gives us 20% increased damage and also 20% reduced damage taken. This buff lasts for about 30 seconds, so it's the last buff you're going to want to do in our line. And lastly, for our physic, we've got on two buffs that are actually quite powerful. We're going to be using the Stone Barb Crack tier, which makes our attacks more likely to break enemy stances. This is super great for the overhead R2 kick and our Spinning Whirlwind, and also the Thorny Crack tier, which makes our consecutive hits attacks grow stronger, so that those spinning kicks are going to deal even more damage when our physic is up. Now, I am a higher level on this character, so I've got 60 Vigor, 25 Mind, almost 35 Endurance, 50 strength, around 50 dexterity, 9 int, 33 faith, and 45 arcane. I could min-max these stats a little bit more, but I went into the DLC for stats that I could basically wield everything except for intelligence weapons. I just wanted to try everything. Showing on screen are going to be the stats that you want to use at around level 150 if you're trying to min-max this build, because this is kind of a quality build plus a little bit of arcane. We went for 40 strength, 40 dex, and 25 arcane. So you still get the blood loss buildup. You still get good strength and dex damage, and then you also get the quality of life of a high vigor pool, some decent mind, some decent endurance, so that you can wear some cool armor and also be able to spam your attacks without running out of stamina, which I thought was pretty important. And then also 25 faith, so that you can maintain all of your buffs up. The faith is probably the least important stat. It's kind of just nice to have to get those buffs and get those spells, but obviously it's not actually contributing to the damage of our weapons as much, so not as important there. And then this build obviously has room to grow if you do want to go above level 150, because the soft caps that you're going to want to hit are probably around 60 with your strength index, which is what I'm working up to. You still can get more and more damage, and then you can get more arcane for more blood loss buildup. So if you want to level up your character a bunch in the DLC, you actually still do get quite a bit of benefits from this build, because there's so many stats that, because we're not scaling just strength or just dex or just faith, we do genuinely benefit from. So all nice things there. Now for the locations of everything, I'm going to try to cover as much as I can, and then the things that I don't cover, I will have links in the description where you can go and follow them. And we're going to be starting off with the Dane hat and the Dry Leaf Arts Martial Gloves. To get these, you're going to want to come from the High Road Cross Point, which you will get after you beat Renala or Relena. I always blank on their name. After you beat her, you're going to follow this road, and then you could just come down this way and get to the Morth Runes. At the Morth Runes, you will find Dane standing right here. You won't be able to interact with him. However, if you do the May the Best Win gesture directly at him, it will start a fight, and in that fight, if you beat him, you get the hat and the martial gloves, and then you can start your martial arts build. After you get Dane's gloves and hat, you're going to want to get on your horse from the Morth Ruins and just go directly through this arch here. We're going to be jumping and grabbing the Shattered Stone Talisman, which is going to buff up our damage of our kicks and stuff. And you can find it right on this rubble pile that's down here. It should be right on this corner. You can also just go through the building. and there's a little door there. Just go through this building and then come out here to the left, and that is how you get the Shattered Stone Talisman. Unfortunately, I've still got one section of my map locked, so it's hard to show right here, but the Rao Ancient Ruins East is the checkpoint that you're going to want to come to get the Ash of War for the Dry Leaf Whirlwind. You're going to come through those sewers there. There'll be a Crucible Knight on this rock here that you need to defeat. Once you defeat him, you can grab this Site of Grace, and instead of heading out forwards into the area, you're actually going to want to backtrack. Now, this was pretty hidden, so I wanted to show it off. But the location of these are going to be right behind this big pillar. Should be on this rock right here. And then you'll have your Ash of War. For the Dane's Blood footwork, the main weapon that we're using in this build, I don't want to spoil too much, but if you're continuing on through the main story, you will get them given to you. You can't actually miss these if you're trying to beat the DLC, but you'll get them here in this sand room that is in the Enir Ilim area. You're going to fight a boss here, or a few bosses, and then once you beat those bosses, you will get given the Dane's Blood footwork. Lastly, the Divine Bird Warrior armor, I believe, is a rare drop from the Divine Bird Warrior enemies that you can find in Enir Ilim, and also the Tree Sentinel gloves and greaves are just from beating the Tree Sentinel. The Commander's Standard for buffing up yourself can actually be found in base game. If you go to Kaled and then come all the way into the Lake of Rot, the Inner Aeonia, Heart of Aeonia, there you'll find a boss there that you can kill that will give you the Commander's Standard, and the Lord Blood's Exaltation, Rotten Wing Greatsword, and the Shard of Alexander, as well as the tiers. I will have links in the description for because they're all base game items. Guys, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. I plan on having a bunch more Elden Ring videos and builds out. However, I am getting married in just a few days, so probably a little bit of a delay on those. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you do, be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.